Hello everyone, welcome to ACRT. Today is the 12th session and today we are going to talk about how to have salary discussion or negotiation with HR. Interview is the most trickiest and tiring process, and it gets even trickier as we move towards the HR round and when we have to have the discussion or negotiation on our salary with HR. So I thought, with whatever experience I have and whatever I have had a conversation with HR in so many years, I thought of putting all those experiences or points together and present, since many of you guys were asking me about salary negotiation, especially for the role of the Scrum Master or Agile Coach. How do we do that negotiation? What is the range, and so on and so forth. So I thought of putting all those points together so that you can have that negotiation with HR more appropriately. On that note, let's get started. The first and foremost point that we have to remember in HR negotiation is that before we go on a call with HR, we have to do our homework or a research on few things. What are those few things? Those are like research on the market value on various salary comparison platforms. Like we have many salary comparison platforms like Glassdoor, or you may have Naukri and so on and so forth, even LinkedIn for that matter, which will give you the appropriation or some figure, as in what is the market value for that particular position or that particular role has, right? And based on that market value or research, you can get some idea, okay, this is what we can maybe ask, or this is what we can negotiate on. Second is, while you go through the interview process or during your initial calls itself, try to understand what is company looking for in terms of role. What is the JD about? Never do that mistake of agreeing for an interview without going through the JD is very very important, because nowadays what happens is there are very various roles or various job descriptions that HRs come up with or organizations come up with, and we tend to get lost in that abstraction, as in what exactly is needed from that job profile, right? So to get that clarity, it is very important to know what company is looking for exactly by that by looking at the job description. And also you can evaluate whether you are in line with that roles or not. And next is, try to understand what is the company's budget on the role. Now you may ask me, how do we know that? Definitely, even before scheduling your round, HR will definitely call you, or even if there is a there is no call from HR, at least you will have an email wherein initial screening happens, and you are asked few templatized questions, right? So as a counter, you can just ask them what is the company's budget. The way they ask you what is the expectation, current salary, and so on and so forth, you can also ask what is the company's budget allocated for that particular role. Okay. Next point is, after we are done with our homework, next comes to understand what is your personal brand, identify your personal brand, and identify your brand's value or worth. Now, what do we mean by the personal brand value or worth, right? So the point number one and this point, what I'm speaking about, these are all the prerequisites before entering the HR round. So these are something which are like must to evaluate or assess for oneself and then get into the HR negotiation. Okay, so coming back to what is the personal brand value or what is the personal worth. So try to understand that you have got a good amount of experience, or maybe relevant experience, which is required for that particular role. Okay, so what value you will bring to that table, what is that unique quality that you have or skill set that you have developed, so that you can perform best as compared to others. That is something called as your brand value. That is something, your unique quality or your unique skill set, that will make you stand out or apart from the crowd. Okay, so first point is what value you will bring to the table. So what value, as in, for an example, since we are talking about agile coaches and scrum masters, and I am also one of them. So in this case, if I have to talk about say scrum master and agile coach, so you have got like so and so years of experience, and the relevant experience would be so and so. So what value you will bring to that company or organization when you join, that becomes your brand value. Okay, so your skills for that role. So as I mentioned, every JD is different, and it is subject to change as per the company, right? So in that case, what is the job description that is talking about, what are the skill set that are required. So some organizations or HRs, they mention the mandatory skills and good to have or okay to have skills, right? So just see, out of that mandatory skills, where do you fit in, how many points do you how many check boxes do you check in terms of fulfilling the requirement. So that is what the value that you will bring to the table, that is what your unique quality is about. And obviously, what is your experience for that role, whether you are say fresher or you are intermediary level, or whether you are expertise, all these things that you will have to evaluate for yourself in order for you to negotiate properly, and ask for what you deserve to HR. All right, so moving on to the next point. Yeah, this is like most important point that we have to keep in mind. Do not disclose your expected salary details on a screening call. As I have mentioned, you will get a call in the initial stages wherein HR will call you to check whether you fit, or come, or maybe you are close to what they are looking for. So that is called as a screening call. They will try to see, okay, whether you fit in terms of requirement, whether you fit in terms of experience, whether you fit in terms of salary, so on and so forth. So basis what you mention to HR is when they try to see whether you are qualified or not. If you're qualified, then your resume will be shortlisted, and it is further proce- further processed for future rounds or whatever, right? So this is what happens during screening. So do not make that mistake of just saying out your expected salary. Now, what do we say then? You can just tell HR that I would like to have salary discussion after the interview process is done. So I am open for negotiation, and I would like to talk about the salary discussion after I clear round. So this is a subtle way of saying no, and it is absolutely okay to tell this. No one will be kind of putting a gun on your head asking you for the salary expectations. It is really up to you whether you want to disclose it or not. Okay, next point. Yes, this is again a very critical point. Uh, in 2018 or so, I came across this article which mentioned that salary negotiation is a psychological game. I never understood at that point of time what does that article mean. Okay, so that article mentioned that if we have to do the salary negotiation, we have to give a particular precise number. As you have seen over here, I have mentioned few of the examples which should be avoided, and the way we should have that negotiation. We should not have or discuss our salary in a range. So we tend to say that what is your salary expectation. The immediate answer would be say 20 to 25 lakhs per annum, or 15 to 20 lakhs. So whenever you give this range, what happens is HR is always going to consider the lower limit. Here in this case 20, HR is never going to consider your upper limit. So, as I mentioned, it is a psychological game. Okay. And even if you just say a round figure, say 23, HR will again try to negotiate something below than that or lower than that. And also, we also have lot of habit of asking in terms of percentage hike, meaning, okay, what is your current salary? Your current salary is maybe 15 lakhs. Then what is your expectations? 30% hike, or 40% or 50% to what I am drawing currently. So this is what happens generally. But what happens is, whenever you say a percentage hike, is when HR is going to just do that calculation in mind, and just come back to you at that point saying that no, 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 we won't be able to give you 50% or 40%, 30% is the industry standard. We cannot go beyond that. And that is where your conversation will end. Instead, give some specific salary number. So if you are expecting something around between this, say precisely 23.6 or maybe 24.2. So what happens is, as I mentioned, since it is a psychological game, HR will feel that you have come to this number with some calculation in mind. HR will not think that you have thrown number randomly. HR will feel that you have concluded with some calculation in mind. Also, let me give you one example to prove why it is a psychological game. Most of you people from India must be knowing a shoe brand called Bata, right? Most of you have at least once shopped or at least heard about this brand called Bata. So Bata is like very famous shoe brand. If you notice the prices of that their products, it is never a complete or round figure. So what they'll put is 399 only, or maybe 599 only, 699 only. Though it is just 1 rupee less, to say for an example 399, though it is only 1 rupee less, or it is even 400 if you consider, since it is just written as 399, we are like, we tend to get manipulated with that number. We think that okay, it is just in 300s and not in 400s. So that is their marketing strategy, or that is their strategy to draw customers, or maybe make them buy their products, right? So this is what is the psychological game. So when you give the number, definitely the round number, round figure, they are definitely, HR is definitely going to reduce it. But when you come with some actual specific number, avoiding all such ranges and percentage number and on so on, is when HR will understand, okay, the candidate is educated enough to understand the calculations. I'm not saying educated means you're not illiterate, but many people are not good with maths, right? Especially when it comes to calculations and all. Why to talk about others? Even I am the one who is like very much neglected in terms of calculating numbers and so on. So for those people, it is very important that we come up with some precise number, so that HR understands that this person has really done some homework and calculation. Okay, let's move on to next. Next point is, do not fall prey to total CTC. What do you mean by do not fall prey to total CTC? For an example, HR has quoted, say, 25 lakhs per annum. Okay. And you are like an experienced person. So what happens is, when they say 25 lakhs of total CTC, that is cost to company, which means it has got many other aspects or many other components in your salary apart from your fixed component. Pay attention to all those details. Ask for a salary breakup. If you do not understand what is the fixed component or what is the variable component, you can very well ask HR to give that salary breakup, or tell you or explain you the salary breakup before you accept the offer. Otherwise, what you can do is, if you understand even a bit of it, you can just check your CTC for that table or a salary card, and you check how much is the fixed component, how much is the variable component. The fixed component is something which you will get in on a monthly basis. Variable component which you get at the end of the year, that is calculated based upon your performance, and there is some percentage calculation is done to derive to that number. Usually what happens is, the bare minimum percentage for variable component is 10%. That is the bare minimum. So HR can go to any extent. For some people it can be like 15%, for some people it could be like 20%, 25%, whatever it could be, as per your experience level. Okay. So just check with HR, or just check in your salary component, what are these breakup like, or what is the breakup of fixed component and variable component. So what you have to worry about is, how much are you drawing home. That is what is your home takeaway salary. That is what it matters. How much is your home takeaway salary which you get every month? Because any which way, the variable component depends upon your performance rating, so on and so forth. So any which ways, there would be a deduction on that. You may or may not get entire percentage that is been given. For example, out of your 15%, if 14 out of your 15 lakhs CTC, if 14 lakhs is your fixed component, so 14 lakhs divided by 12 is what you will get as your monthly pay, and rest 1 lakh is dependent on your performance. So you may or may not get that entire 1 lakh. So that is the catch over here. So check for these details. All right. Next point is, pay attention to other benefits. So it is very important that we should not only just look at the entire package and get overwhelmed, oh, I'm getting this much and that much. You should also pay attention to other benefits. What are the other benefits? Other benefits such as health benefits, meal coupons, LTA, leave travel allowance, employee stock ownership plan, that is ESOPs, flexibilities, whether you're getting flexible working hours option or not, whether there is a opportunity for you to work from home, or whether it is a hybrid model, whether it is a work from office model, whether you would be getting annual bonus or not. So these are the other benefits apart from your fixed component and the variable component that you should be looking at and taking a decision accordingly. So ESOPs, let me talk about ESOPs. So if your company is like a growing company or at a mid-level company, or if there is a IPO that is going to be launched, or the stocks are going to be put up for that company. So this is again a tactic or employee attraction tactics these days the employers do, wherein they provide ESOPs, the stock options, so that you can get benefited out of it, and the retention rate is also very high when the ESOPs are given. Not everyone gets this option. It also depends on the level or experience that you're going to join that in that company. Again, it depends upon company to company as well. So, and now with this great resignation trend that is going on currently, right, in this pandemic, many of the companies are offering this option. you may want to check this option upfront during your salary negotiation. All right. Next point is, it not only is not only what you're going to get currently as your offer, you are also supposed to check about future as well. Why am I saying future? Because now, if you are joining at this month, that is April month, definitely you would be eligible for your appraisal only in the next year, right? Even though there are some companies who do appraisal twice a year, or maybe from December to Jan cycle once, and April to March cycle, or maybe October to September cycle, or April to March cycle, whatever it could be. It is very important to check with HR about future, that when would be your next cycle. Because I have been fallen prey to this, wherein I have joined companies where I did not bother to check about this, and my next appraisal was only after 1.5 years. So that is what happens. So it is very important for you to check with HR when is your next appraisal cycle that you are eligible for, and where is your next promotion cycle. Because why I am asking this is important. You sometimes it happens that HRs may try to degrade your designation level or a position, so as to fit you in that particular salary bracket. And the promotion cycle for any company is not very frequent, right? So it happens after minimum of 3 years, right? After you complete 3 years, or maybe if every 3 years. So what happens is, you will have to stick to that particular designation uh, for next 3 years or so. For that reasons, it is very important that you check these two things. One is your next appraisal cycle that you would be eligible in. Next is your promotion cycle. Okay. So next point is, understand designation levels and cadre. As I was just talking about the regradation or of your grade, etc. Before accepting your offer, you you can first, at first level, you can check what is the hierarchical structure online of that particular company. At the second level, you can very well check with HR that what is the designation hierarchy level in the organization. Okay, whatever offer that they are giving you, or whatever designation that they have offered you, you have every right to check with HR what is the designation level that they are offering, and where do you stand in that hierarchy. Whether you would be here, or wherever, you have every right to check where what is your designation level and what is your cadre. Okay. And you can also ask them, if you feel that at this experience level you are given less cadre, or maybe you are very at the lowest level in the hierarchy, you have got every right to negotiate on that as well. So these are the points which you can remember while negotiation. And this is very important, because your designation and cadre will not change until your next promotion, right? So these are the points which you can negotiate before joining that company, or before accepting the offer. Yes. Next important thing over here is, ask if hiring is passive or active. What do you mean by hiring is passive or active? That means whether this position is for a bench, or whether it is for any project, whether there is actually a requirement that they are actively looking for in a project, or they are just hiring so that there is a possibility of getting this a requirement open in future. That is, they are hiring for bench. So why I am saying this is important, if it is active, then most likely eh, they would be requiring it immediately. And if you would be available immediately, if your notice period is less, or if you're already serving notice period, or you may or already have a counter offer, then you are at the upper hand, and you most likely to win the negotiation, right? HR will give you whatever you say sensibly, not you can ask for bomb and they'll give you bomb. No, whatever is sensible, and if you are falling into that budget, right, they will definitely give you that. But if it is passive hiring, they will hardly listen to your negotiations. They will just tell you, no, this is like, I mean, this is what maximum we can provide, it has to go through the approvals, this that, and they may never come back as well, right? So it is very important to even check whether it is for a project, or whether it is for bench. They may not give you the name of the project also, but at least they can check whether I mean, you can check whether it is for a project hiring, or whether it is to fulfill the demand, or whether it is a bench hiring. All right. And the last point on this topic is, do not accept the offer immediately and take time to weigh all the options. Why I'm saying so is, as we spoke about this great resignation period, so people are just company shopping, or maybe offer shopping these days. So there is no guarantee whether, even after you accept the offer, whether the employee is going to join the company or not. So the situation current is very volatile. So in that case, what happens is, the HRs are trying to catch hold of candidate as much as possible, by closing the interview process, or closing this offer negotiation as soon as possible, so that again plays a psychological game, and it takes a toll on us by putting lot of pressure on this. But given all those things, you have every right to ask for some time to think whether you want to accept that offer or not, whether you want to do some more research about whatever. It could be about your salary, it could be about the organization, it could be about the role, or it could be about your designation, anything. And then you accept that offer, because I've seen these days, the HR says that accept sign and accept the offer within 24 hours or within 48 hours. I've also seen cases, I know of a person who has received offer letter at 9:30 p.m. and he was asked to give in a writing saying that he would be joining for sure on an email, and he was asked to join immediately next day. I mean, these are the cases that are happening currently because of this volatile environment, and the job shopping that employees are doing. Even in that situation, you can just ask for some time for you to weigh all the options, check all the options, weigh all the options, and only then take a call whether you want to go ahead or not. Because whatever you say yes, thinking of at that point of time, that cannot be undone, and you would only get a chance to correct or revise your salary only during your next appraisal or your promotion cycle. So take your decision wisely, and that is it from my end. Thank you so much for watching the video, and please like, subscribe, and share on our YouTube channel. Thank you so much.